You are listening to the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show. A lot of people already know, but for those that don't, the enhanced version comes with pictures. So when you're listening and you hear this noise, take a look at whatever you're using to listen to the show. iTunes, iPhone, those are pretty much the only options. It really only works on Apple devices. But whatever you're using to listen, take a look. I'm going to show you a picture of what we are talking about. And got a lot of show this week, so let's get started. Welcome to the Jeff Rubin Show. I am Jeff Rubin, and this week we're going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of just focusing on one thing, we're going to spend a little bit of time on some different things, because there's just so many important things going on in the world that we just have to talk about. We're going to cover the release of Angry Birds Space with Jon Gabrus. We're going to be talking about the Michael Bayification of the Ninja Turtles with Owen Parsons, and the Hunger Games movies with Pat Castles. But first, we got to talk about the big story that's going on. It's on everyone's mind. Everyone's talking about it. Just finished the world's largest pizza convention, Pizza Expo 2012. And we're going to be talking to the only person you need to talk about these things with, Scott Wiener of Scott's Pizza Tours. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Thank you, Jeffrey Rubin.
You just got back from, was that correct, the world's largest pizza convention?
It's absolutely correct. It's the world's, it's the oldest, the longest running and the largest pizza expo in the United States. So not world's largest.
Is there a bigger one in Italy or something?
I believe there is a bigger one, but I don't have the stats, so I just don't want to make any claims and then somebody tells me I'm totally wrong.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say it's the oldest and largest in the United States.
This is Pizza Expo 2012. We actually visited Pizza Expo 2007. 5 years ago, we went with our friends Matt and Brian, and Justin joined us a day later. And still hanging on my wall is the novelty photo that we took together at the Pizza Today magazine booth, where they take a picture and put you on the cover of Pizza Today magazine. Like, what? Us on the cover of Pizza Today? I guess so.
Do you ever have people who come in here and say, wow, why were you guys on the cover of the magazine?
I think it's more like, is that a real magazine?
Oh, because people used to come over when...
Well, you could feasibly be on the cover of Pizza Today magazine.
What
you
a
write
dream.
for the magazine.
I do.
For those that aren't familiar with Scott's work, I want you to pause the episode right now. Well, wait, not right now. Let me give you the instructions first. Scott, I believe, is on the third episode of the Jeff Rubin Show, where we talk all about his tour. So if you didn't listen to that one yet, go back, listen to that episode. Pause it now. Okay, they're back. Everyone knows everything about you. Mm-hmm. How was Pizza Expo this year?
This year was insane. More products, more people showed up, high energy, more competitions, and a Lady Gaga impersonator.
Why was the Lady Gaga impersonator
Well,
there?
as everyone who's ever been to the show knows, the second night they have the Rockin' Games, which they call the Rockin' Party and Rockin' Games, I think, something like that. Which basically what it means is they do all the pizza dough acrobatics, and when they're done with that, they have some kind of entertainer come out. And they were teasing everybody on Twitter and on Facebook, oh, we got a big entertainer coming. And it turned out to be this Lady Gaga impersonator.
I bet it is not hard to find a Lady Gaga impersonator in Las
Not
Vegas.
hard at all in Las Vegas.
What I really remember about the show from when we went a few years ago was that, and this is pre you running a pizza tour, you were not professionally involved in pizza yet. You were just an amateur, an enthusiast.
But it should be noted, that was my second pizza convention. I went in 2006 to Atlantic City, and then this 2007 one in Vegas was the second one. I didn't start doing the pizza tours until the spring of 2008.
So you and I and our friends went to this Pizza Expo, and we are not the kind of people that would usually visit Las Vegas. We did no gambling, barely drank. We were there explicitly for the Pizza Expo.
Do you remember what we did, I think, the second night? It was the Wednesday night?
I do know where you're going with this. We were at the New Frontier, which has since been demolished.
All right. Rest her soul.
R.I.P. And there was like mud wrestling. And I mean, we're human. We're like, oh, we should go see the mud wrestling. But we didn't because a new episode of Lost was on. And we went back up to our hotel room and watched the new episode of Lost. I think I know which episode of Lost it was.
What?
It's the one that I believe it was a Lock-centric episode, so you can't miss that.
You can't miss it.
And
it's
I think it was the one with, we could check the dates and see if I'm wrong, the one with his dad, where his dad is on the island and Ben is like, he came out of the magic box or something.
Oh.
I think that was the episode.
Weird.
So that's what I really remember about PizzaCon. But the second thing that I remember about PizzaCon is that It wasn't really. We were the only people there who weren't professionally involved in pizza. Like it's only for pizza manufacturers and sellers.
Yeah, it's not a convention for fans. It's not like you go there and get it's
not
autograph
Comic-Con.
No, it's not Comic-Con at all. It's a trade show. So you go there to check out tomato packers and cheese companies, and they have special deals if you order 10,000 pizza boxes from the show floor, all that kind of stuff. But no, we were like the only people there who were not in the pizza business.
Which is very difficult for every single other person there to understand.
Yeah, well,
what
because
are you doing
do you remember
at this
we
thing?
would walk up and they would look at our badges, they'd be like, "Oh, where are you from? What? Scott's Pizza Journal?" And you guys were always saying, "Oh, yeah."
We said we were from Scott's Pizza Journal, which was at the time not what was Scott's Pizza Journal?
It was okay.
For those that didn't pause the episode for some reason.
Yeah, weird. It was the personal diary that I kept where all I wrote about was every pizzeria that I visited.
And this is not a book project you were trying to sell. This is literally a personal
This was
diary
a
about
personal
pizza.
diary. It wasn't a blog. It wasn't anything. It literally was one book
And
in my
it got you and 3 or 4 friends into PizzaCon for free.
We all got in for free, and it was amazing.
It was incredible. So with that in mind, that it's more of a trade show, what was going on this year? What were the more products on the floor?
Well, this year there was a lot of pizza delivery technology, like a lot of bicycles that had pizza storage units on the back that kept the pizzas level, which was kind of cool. Electric.
Is it like
motorcycles.
Is it like a gyroscope?
No, it just kind of had these weird little tiny springs in it. It didn't look all that impressive.
So the pizza's got shocks, though.
Yeah,
That's cool.
You got to have shocks on your pizza, but that was a kind of a big thing. I'll tell you what, there was a lot of you think pizza and you think Italian food, but the Pizza Expo is really an American pizza industry event. But this year, a ton of Italians. Every year, it's kind of building. As Neapolitan pizza has been sweeping the nation with wood-fired ovens and all that jazz, this year there were like 3 or 4 flour companies. There was a demonstration for mixing dough by hand with this guy who doesn't speak much English. He's this Neapolitan guy. That was cool. There was somebody demonstrating the fried pizza. That's becoming more popular in New York right now, where they fry the dough and then they pull that out, top it, and then finish the bake inside the oven. That was awesome. A guy named Giulio Adriani, who's opening a new pizzeria that's only doing fried pizza in like 2 weeks in the Lower East Side. I think they have 4 pizzas on the menu, and I've had 3 of them, and they're dynamite.
That sounds awesome. How many of these pizza conventions have you been to?
I went to 2006 in Atlantic City, 2007 in Vegas, 2009, 2011, 2012. This is the 5th.
So you have seen, how is it changed?
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Then I went to one in Orlando. Yeah, and then I have another one coming up in like 3 weeks.
How have you seen it change over the years?
Well, Pizza Expo itself, it's funny because I started going kind of right before and then during the whole like recession thing, and you saw a little hit in the beginning, but then since then the pizza industry is growing massively because it's such a recession-friendly food in a way. You can feed your family for $30. You get a pizza, you get wings, you get sodas, whatever. So it's been really massive. And pizzeria owners are just loving it right now. So the energy level at Pizza Expo was off the charts. This year was incredible.
You judge the pizza there, not just for fun as you're eating it. You are an official judge of the pizza there.
I am.
What did you judge exactly?
So I was judging the culinary competitions, and they have a few different categories. I did the traditional, which is a cheese blend, a sauce, and up to 2 toppings. And then I did the non-traditional, which is anything goes, whatever the hell you want to do. It was crazy.
What won the non-traditional?
The non-traditional winner was a Hawaiian pizza that came out with.
Oh, you love Hawaiian pizza.
Well, I'm in a Hawaiian
If I can
pizza.
jump in here.
Oh, yeah. I respect it, and I will eat it, and I enjoy it.
I thought it was one of your favorite types of pizzas.
No.
In
I wouldn't call it
college?
one of my favorites. No, that was like a fun occasion pizza.
That was a phase.
It was a little phase I went through. But I'm totally into throwing pineapple on pizza. I'm not judgmental about that
It's
at all.
pineapple and ham is Hawaiian, right?
Usually, yeah. But this one was weird. This one had slices of lime. There was some tequila thrown in there. It had mango. It was really good. It was actually a pizzeria from Staten Island called Goodfellas, which they win all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because the winner of this competition is not necessarily the greatest pizza you've ever had in your life, but of the people who enter the competition, it's the one that's most balanced and kind of the bright shining star of a pizza that actually makes sense.
What do they win?
Well, they win money, a ton of money. I think it's like $5,000 or $10,000. I mean, they win thousands of bucks.
What makes a pizza competition in Las Vegas at the convention center difficult is that so much of the pizza, correct me if I'm wrong, is the oven. And everyone's kind of working out of the convention center, so a smaller electrical oven.
I'll tell you. Well,
You just Winster. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, because the pizza is more than the oven. The oven is the tool, and the pizza maker is the delivery method. It's all about the pizza maker. Don't blame your oven, Jeff. Don't blame it.
I'm not blaming any oven. I'm just saying that all these pizza makers, these artists, are working with possibly not the best tools.
Well, hear this. They're all out of their element. None of them have their hometown oven, but they have an option. They have a choice. There's a deck oven, natural gas fueled deck oven. There's an electric oven. There's a wood fired oven you can't burn wood inside the convention center, so it's natural gas, but it's a domed Neapolitan oven. And then there's a conveyor belt oven. So you have all the tools.
So there's
there.
some options.
Yeah,
and everyone is even.
Yeah, because nobody's using their home oven, so everybody kind of has to figure things out on the fly. What the true winner is the one who can overcome those obstacles, jump those hurdles, and make something that's delicious.
What was the craziest thing you saw at Pizza Expo this year?
Oh man, well there was one pizza that it was to commemorate the burning of Lawrence. Where is it? Lawrence.
I don't know any Lawrences who were set on fire.
There was a place that was set on fire in 1863. It was like a Civil War battle, and the pizza came out. It was a normal-looking pizza, but they've carved an entire village out of pepperoni.
Wow.
Like out of chunk, like not slices of pepperoni, but a chunk of pepperoni. They've carved a village, and they set it on fire.
So it was like an art installation?
The pizza came out on fire.
So no one got to eat the pizza?
I ate the pizza.
Oh, so they put it out at some point.
They put it back, they cut it, but that was the craziest. It was. I just put up a video of it on the YouTube.
On your YouTube channel.
On the Scott's Pizza Tours YouTube
which
channel.
Which is at?
It's, YouTube/Scott's Pizza Tours.
Perfect.
It's right there on top. It's awesome.
I remember when we were there a few years ago, one of the things we saw was people, like these like thin pieces of film that you could put on a pizza to like bake a piece of clip art message on a pizza. And we saw that when we were at the 2007 Pizza Expo. And then this year at the Super Bowl, I saw Domino's, Papa John's, you know who it was?
I think it was maybe Papa John's.
One of the big ones was doing a thing for the Super Bowl where they would send out a pizza. It was this exact thing with your team or with the Super Bowl logo on it or something like that. So things do come out of this that reach the national market.
But it's funny because I didn't see them at this year's event. So I don't know what happened. Maybe they lost all their money on giving out free things to Domino's or whatever.
What else did you do when you were out there in Las Vegas? You did something else pizza related.
Oh, yeah. I stuck around. I hate Las Vegas. It's like my least favorite place on the planet.
I also hate Las Vegas.
But, so being there for 3 days usually kills me. But I stayed an extra 4 days to work at a pizzeria out there. So I worked at this place called Metro Pizza.
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
To learn.
Well, I wanted to experience what it's like to work in a pizzeria. Because I've never done that.
So how was it? What'd you do?
It was great. I worked the line. I worked a Saturday night stretching pizza doughs, which is like a hugely important job. And we stretched 250 doughs during the night. It was incredible.
What did you learn?
Stretching doughs. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what. I always thought that the person who throws the toppings onto that pizza is like the lowest. Because all you're doing is throwing some stuff on top of a piece of dough. But when I was doing that, and I did that for 2 nights actually, of those 4 nights I did it for 2 nights, that's a hard job. Evenly distributing toppings, not getting too much water on there, and getting that pie, that person has to stick that pie in the oven. Getting it in the oven without burning yourself, which I did.
You're pointing at a burn on your hand.
Yeah, it's a burn. Which felt great, by the way. It felt great to burn myself on that oven.
Pizza scar.
I felt real. I'm going to get it tattooed onto my skin.
It's like pizza burn on the roof of your mouth, but on your actual skin.
Yes, and much worse, I would say.
Can we talk about the secret project that you are coming directly from?
I don't know about that.
Okay, we will keep that a secret.
I know we can talk about it with that as long as we don't name names.
Okay. What is the intriguing secret project I just brought up?
Okay, so part of the reason I wanted to work in Vegas was, I want to work in. I'm a pizza lover, a pizza blogger, one of these people who pizzeria owners probably have a love-hate relationship with people who pontificate about pizza, I'm sure. I wanted to know what's it like from their side. So I'm going to work in 3 or 4 different pizzerias over the course of the next few weeks, maybe months. We'll see how long it happens. And I just want to get an idea. So that was a family pizzeria in Las Vegas, suburban Las Vegas. I got that done. I just came from an interview at, we'll just call it a large chain pizzeria, which I got the job.
You got the job.
I got the job.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I go for orientation on Tuesday.
So you're delivering pizzas, right?
I will be delivering pizzas.
That is very exciting.
Yes, and you may be doing a ride along with me.
I would love to do a ride along. Can we bring the mics on the ride along?
Sure.
We're going to talk more about pizza on that. That's going to be really fun.
You got to be legit though. Yeah. Well,
what do you mean I got to be legit?
I got to tell you, I was in the back room of this large chain delivery place, and it was very eerie. I wanted to take everything.
Do you remember this? This summer I had an internship, applied for a job at this large pizza chain, and I got it. And I actually went to orientation, but then something with the hours didn't line up, and I went to orientation, but I never actually did the job.
I do remember. all coming back.
I barely remember because I only went for an hour and I never actually did the job. But
Weird. Well, I'm gonna follow through where you left off. I'm gonna complete your sentence. I'm really excited, but after that, I want to work at a New York slice shop, work in the slice counter, reheating slices. Dealing with people. I want to do that.
Most people would look at working at a large-scale pizza chain as possibly a step down from operating your own business that you love.
Oh, totally. But you know what? I need to learn about this stuff because this is what I talk about, and people ask me these questions about it, and they don't really. It's not very often somebody says, "What's it like to be a delivery person for a big pizza chain?" But I'm interested in it, and I think it would be an interesting story to talk about what it's like from that side of it. Give me a better appreciation.
I think that is what sets you apart, Scott. ScottsPizzaTours.com. Did I do that right?
Oh yeah.
ScottsPizzaTours.com. If you're coming to New York, it is the only thing that your family will all like doing at the same time. That's how I try to sell it to people.
You know what? A lot of reviews say that, so yeah.
It's so true. It's the only thing that dads like, moms like, kids like, teenagers like.
Even the little
sarcastic teenagers.
No, I get them.
Yeah.
Because I'm them. We're the same.
You're one and the same.
By the third stop, I'm like, listen, I know what you're thinking. Trust me.
That's what's about pizza. That's the thing about pizza. Everyone loves pizza.
Everyone's into it.
The other thing about Scott, which I want to mention again, because people ask all the time, is that Scott wrote the theme song to the show. We mentioned that in that third episode, but I still get people asking all the time, what is the theme song to the show? It is Dinosaurs by the Bikini Car Wash Company, which is also on YouTube, and the Bikini Car Wash Company is entirely Scott. So thank you again for
you can download it on iTunes.
Scott, thank you again for the theme song. Thank you for being on the show. But now it is time to talk about Angry Birds Space, which is arguably the first true sequel to Angry Birds. Has Rovio managed to once again revolutionize playing video games while taking a shit? Your thoughts, Jon Gabrus.
I take weird shits now because of this game. I'll take a shit and then it'll circle around the toilet slowly but surely, eventually landing in the bowl.
That is visual, but it does kind of help explain the difference between Angry Birds and Angry Birds Space. What is new about this Angry Birds?
I feel like Rovio here did like the classic where it's like Mario did, where they're just like, well, we'll change the physics. And I feel like Space now just changes the entire idea of the physics of Angry Birds. There's no more, gravity. I guess there is there's orbital gravitation rather than normal gravitation. Haven't taken a science class in 15 years, so I'm not sure what I'm...
Rather than taking place on Earth or whatever world Angry Birds took place on, I guess I never thought about that before, but I assumed it was Earth. They had Earth-like materials.
Yeah, they had green pigs.
So
just like
we'll
Earth.
save the what planet did Angry Birds take place on issue for another podcast. But Angry Birds Space is in space, and you're flying around asteroids, and each asteroid has its own gravitational pull, so you can kind of whip the birds around there. Or if you can shoot the bird, if it can achieve escape velocity and go into space, it just goes straight. It doesn't arc down anymore.
Exactly. I thought that was cool too.
Mario Galaxy is obviously the model here.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, that's kind of why I want to talk about Angry Birds, is I think they're slowly becoming, and this is hard for me to say as a video game fan because I don't think it's on the same level, but they're sort of becoming the new Mario. It's got to be the most played game out there right now, just pure numbers-wise.
Yeah.
By far.
Angry Birds is the Mario of iPhone.
I think it's the Mario.
I would say that.
And I think it's the Mario. I think we talked about this a little bit last time we talked about Angry Birds, but I think it's the Mario of a new generation. You see so much, and not that Mario's going anywhere, but you see so much Angry Birds stuff out there now. They've licensed it to everything. There's T-shirts and candy and toys. Like when we were at Toy Fair, Angry Bird had won License of the Year, and almost everyone had some variation of an Angry Birds toy.
But also, Angry Birds is the Mario of a new generation and an old generation because there's no real buy-in. Like, if you sat down and tried to play the newest Mario now without playing since the original, it'd be a mind fuck. But, anyone could sit down on the first level of Angry Birds and learn it. My mom is the benchmark of, how user-friendly something is. And my mom can my mom can't work in DVR, but she can play Angry Birds on her iPad.
I think one reason I'm so excited about Angry Birds Space, I gotta admit, is because I never thought I'd be that into Angry Birds again. I kind of thought that maybe, and it still might be, something of a fluke for Rovio. To keep comparing it to Mario, where's Rovio's Zelda?
Yeah.
But Angry Birds Space, after they did Angry Birds Season, which was pretty much more of the same.
I never even played any of those.
And they only did 2. They did Angry Birds Season and Angry Birds Rio, both of which were more or less more the same. There weren't that dramatic of a gameplay difference. Angry Birds Space makes more changes than I thought they would to the formula, and they're pretty good. You know, they're changes that really fundamentally alter the gameplay.
It's risky to try to change Angry Birds. Like, it's so wildly successful. They could have easily just kept making, like, glorified expansion packs forever. You know what I mean? They could have just been like, oh, yeah, now it's got Angry Birds, but instead they're this license, you know, Angry Birds presents Game of Thrones, and it's like you shoot little Tyrions at, dragons or whatever.
I like that was your first example, shooting little Tyrions at dragons. I see exactly where your head is at right now.
That's like my dream game. Now I'm upset that game doesn't exist.
They should do it. I think they're doing a Game of Thrones MMORPG, which I'll probably never play.
I would play, too, just to fuck my twin sister.
Let's briefly address this while we're talking about Angry Birds. People ask me all the time if you're going to come back on the show to talk about Game of Thrones, and we are going to do it, right?
Yes.
We're going to wait. I think we're going to wait till the end of the second season. So we're still, it starts next week, so we're about 11 weeks away from that. I'll see you in 11 weeks.
Yes, and if I see you before then, I will fucking. But I will.
Back to let's get back to Angry Birds though.
Yes.
Did you get any of the hidden levels while you were playing?
No, you know what? I got to be 100% honest here. I downloaded it because we were like, you mentioned that we wanted to talk about it. I was like, oh, sick. I love to play new Angry Birds. I started playing, but when I downloaded it, I also downloaded this game called Braveheart from my iPhone, and Braveheart is like, I've been playing that way too much. I'm forcing myself to go back and play Angry Birds.
Is Braveheart based on the movie or, the story of William Wallace?
Not at all. I don't know how they got the title, but it's like overhead, like Diablo sort of looking controls of like an action RPG. But you get to, the controls are like you spin your finger on the screen to make your character whip his sword around, or you press you press him and push another thing to shoot your crossbow. It's like just so simple. The controls are amazing on it. But now I'm touting Braveheart on a Angry Birds podcast. So back to Angry Birds Space.
It is interesting you bring up the touch controls, though, because I do think that's one of the things that made Angry Birds such a phenomenon. I don't like it when they take a game that's maybe great on a console, like something like Street Fighter, and then shoehorn it into an iPhone with a virtual joystick or something like that. I like games that use this new thing, use the touchscreen, and come up with ways to make it fun with a touchscreen. And I think Angry Birds did that. It got a lot of flack at the time for ripping off, what's it called, Crash the Castle? It still gets flack for ripping off Crash the Castle and other games. But Crash the Castle, the launching mechanism was all timing-based, and it wasn't nearly as intuitive. Your mom might not have been able to figure it out. Whereas Angry Birds, I think anyone you put it in front of them, no matter how young or how old or whatever they are, they can get it almost immediately.
Young, old, stupid is the third thing, right?
And Angry Birds Space, I think, is arguably more original than the original Angry Birds. The idea of the planets, each with their own gravity, you see it in Mario Galaxy. Yeah. I'm sure there's other iPhone games that do it. Osmos is a great iPhone game that had this gravity mechanic where there were different planets with their own gravitational pull. And I'm sure there's others that have done it, but I gotta say I was pretty impressed with the new stuff they brought to Angry Birds.
What I love best about Angry Birds, it's even more apparent in Space, is how they hooked, like, the first level is like, oh, so easy. The second level you fuck up and you're like, wait a minute, oh, I see, I could do that. And then, like, they teach you how to play as it goes. Like, you learn skills yourself. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it can go around the planet. I finally figured it out for level 3, and then at level 7 is where it's harder.
You can use the planet's gravity to slingshot it around. This is how they get lost in time in Farscape. That is the nerdiest thing I've ever said on the show, which is really saying something.
You know what's funny is, as you were about to say that's how they got lost in time in Farscape, I was trying to say, that's how Superman can gain super speed.
So this concept has been used before. And, it's just a little more complex without fundamentally changing the recipe.
Exactly.
Do you get 3 stars on every level?
I usually play like that. I usually keep trying until I get 3 stars.
I'm like, that's how I started playing and gave up on immediately. And because the scoring seems so arbitrary sometimes. Sometimes, in my opinion, if you kill all the pigs with one bird, that should be an automatic 3 stars.
I agree wholeheartedly, Mr. Rubin. I guess I should say I like to try to get 3 stars as often as possible. Then I have this imaginary cutoff point where I'm like, let me just get past a few boards, then I'll go back and play I'll play for 3 stars, and then I always end up never going back.
Yeah, me too. The thing about Angry Birds, and I think one reason the first one has been as popular as it has been for so long, is that they put out so many levels for free. And to their credit, I think they do a pretty good job of making them different types of levels. It's not just the house is a little bigger. They are pretty good at coming up with different twists for them. And now they have this whole new playground of space and the gravity. I certainly hope, I'd expect to see more from them. Basically, what I'm saying is there's already more Angry Birds than I care to play. And I remember when I was into the first one, just like this point where I needed to beat the game so I could stop playing it.
Exactly. And then just as more expansions are coming out, you're like, no!
So I'm trying to keep that in mind every time I'm restarting a level to get 3 stars.
Yeah, like just get it over. Yeah, there's too much Angry Birds. But here's the real question, Jeff. What did those pigs ever do to those birds?
They stole the eggs.
What?
They stole their eggs. Didn't you watch the hilarious movie?
I don't watch cutscenes on Xbox games, so I'm not going to watch them on my iPhone.
I believe they've stolen the birds' eggs is the plot of the game. Plus, they're kind of shitty the way they just keep laughing at you. Like, fuck them.
Yeah. Or they're, like, snoring. I think that's kind of fun. Well, here's what my question. So the pigs stole the eggs and then decided to hide on the outside of planets guarded by tiny pieces of plywood and stone.
Yeah, I mean, at least this time they ran away to space. On the other one, they just, like, stayed in the field and were just like, I'll hide in this glass-roofed building.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how about the 5 of us get underneath this stone? Are you sure? I feel like if someone hit it right here, we'd all die. We'll be fine.
The thing I was saying about the bonus levels before is that so if you get a golden egg steroid, they've replaced the golden eggs with golden egg steroids, you go to a bonus level, and all the bonus levels are based on classic video games. There's a Space Invaders level, there is a Breakout level, there's actually a Mario Brothers level.
Whoa.
And I'm wondering if maybe they're making their play for saying, hey, we're one of these classic video games now.
Oh, that's ballsy. That's ballsy to include classic video games in your video game and then say, "Aren't we classic?" No, I don't think that.
Well, they don't say "Aren't we classic," but I think it's kind of implied by the inclusion of the levels.
I mean, that's ballsy. I don't know. I think that's getting ahead of themselves. And the crazy thing is, this game is $1.
Honestly, that's one of the reasons I tried it. Like I said, I'm so pleasantly surprised. I never thought I'd play another Angry Birds game, but I thought, for $1, yeah, I'm kind of interested in what new stuff they're doing with the series, whereas something like, say, Call of Duty, yeah, I'm academically interested in what they're doing to keep this insanely popular series fresh, but I don't know if I'm willing to get up off the couch for it, much less spend $60.
That's what's crazy about iPhone games is, like, you find yourself being like, this game looks fucking amazing, and then it's like, $3? No way. Like, you're like, nope, $3 is too much. But then I'm spending $60 on Arkham City, beating it within like 2 days and never touching it again.
I mean, I thought the $60 you spent on Arkham City was money very well spent.
Oh, I agree.
And I enjoyed that time. But it's true. I remember when the first Angry Birds came out, around the time, it must have been like 2009. I think that was the year it hit it big anyway, or maybe 2010, comparing it to Red Dead Redemption. And I like Red Dead Redemption, but I spent like 20 hours on Red Dead Redemption, which is a pretty, it's an open world game. You can spend as much time there as you can tolerate, pretty much.
Exactly.
But Angry Birds, I spent, I don't know, twice that much on, even though the game only costs 1/60th as much.
I know. You're looking at like, like pennies per days of playing. It like costs you nothing to play Angry Birds.
But that said, I like Arkham City and Red Dead, in particular those two games, which are like pretty much two of, I think, the best video games of this console generation. I enjoy those in a much, much different way than I enjoy Angry Birds. Like, I think they're both fun, and I think they're both playable, but like, when I'm playing Angry Birds, I'm almost like, God, I need to stop playing Angry Birds. Whereas when I'm playing Arkham City, I'm like, I never want to stop playing Arkham City.
Oh, I agree. Like, Angry Birds you play passively. Those games you play actively. And part of it is, like, you have to choose to sit down on your couch and making it sound like we're making huge life choices. You have to choose to sit down. You have to choose to smoke a joint, and then you have to choose to turn on your Xbox to really settle in. Like, it's so difficult. Sitting down to play Xbox video game or sitting down to play console games now is like reading a book to me now. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll stay in to the next hour, whereas, like, I could play iPhone games anywhere. It's like this weird new portability thing, you know what I mean? Where it's like, playing video games, it used to be lazy. Now it's, like, difficult. Like, to play Xbox is, like, difficult to turn it on and switch the input and shit like that. Whereas like I have a thing that I talk to my mom on, play video games on, and it's watch movies and listen to music on, and it's in my pocket all day long, every single day.
Yeah, it's true. And I see so many other people, like you and I, have always been playing video games. I have a 3DS that I've played on the subway, and a DS and a Game Boy Advance before that.
I was PSP.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
the Vita looks pretty nice, and I think I briefly touched one, but I need to spend some more time with a Vita. It looks pretty cool. The other new feature I really liked about this game, one of the new birds is a freeze bird. He's like ice cube themed.
Oh, wow. I haven't gotten to him.
I think it's the second world is all freeze bird themed. So you get the freeze bird and you fire it at a building and you can tap to make it explode like the bomb bird. And it has kind of an ice explosion, and anything caught in the explosion is flash frozen into solid ice. And then the next bird you fire just fucks that ice up like it's glass, you know? So if there's like a concrete building, you turn it into ice, and then you just send the next bird right through it. Really satisfying.
Badass, bro.
I think
you were just so intense talking about flash freezing a pig house. That's awesome, dude. Also, I recommend downloading Braveheart, for real. It's like 99 cents or $1.99 and a lot of fun.
I'm going to check it out. I check out pretty much any iPhone game anyone recommends to me ever, because why not?
Yeah, I know. Ever since I met Steven Totillo on doing a Nerd Alert with you, I like tweet him. I'm like, what game should I download now? He just tells me, and I download like 5 games at a clip.
I'm trying to think what else is good. What have you played anything else good recently?
Well, my wife now plays Fruit Ninja so much that she was having trouble sleeping because she was playing right before bed. We had to cut her off.
I was at Dave & Buster's recently, possibly the other night. Dave & Buster's, by the way, I don't know. I was at the one in Times Square, and it is the fucking worst. If you have a bar/arcade and I go and I hate every element of it, I want to love what you're doing. I want to love it.
Exactly.
And it is the worst. Anyway, one thing that was kind of interesting is that there aren't very many new arcade games. That's not Dave & Buster's fault. But one thing people are doing is blowing up iPhone games into arcade cabinets. Like there is a large, pretend like you're a 42-inch TV screen running Fruit Ninja, and it's the same Fruit Ninja in your pocket, but a big version of it. And they also had that with Infinity Blade. And there aren't many new arcade games, but I think something we're seeing now is people taking these iPhone games, which are proven concepts, and they are arcade-style games, and putting them in actual arcades because they know, there's a popular brand name, they know people will play it. But the funny thing about the Fruit Ninja one is there's like a demo showing how to play it, and it's showing people playing the game, and there's this one screenshot during the demo of like a boy playing Fruit Ninja, and there's 3 girls watching him, and they're all like giggling, and they're all so impressed about how good he is at Fruit Ninja.
Oh, that's like some guy's dream situation where it's like, I was playing Fruit Ninja, and 3 chicks realized how good I was, and then took turns blowing me.
And then but it's also like, in particular with this game, he's just kind of like flailing at a TV screen and just like touching a TV screen, and they're all like, they're all fawning over it. Oh my God, how is he doing that?
That's really funny. Infinity Blade was another game.
Yeah, Infinity Blade is pretty solid.
But that cost like $6.
Well, Angry Birds is a pretty value-packed game. But when you see something like Infinity Blade for $5 versus maybe Cannibalt, which I think is actually $2 or $3, or, Bejeweled, Infinity Blade is a degree more complex. I think it's running on the Unreal Engine. It's a little more complex than your standard 99-cent game, and I'd say it's probably worth $5.
Oh, I agree. I wasn't saying, like, it wasn't worth the $5, but I was just saying, like, that's crazy. Like, that game, I bought a $5 iPhone game, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I've purchased several of them. Have you tried the big one right now, which I can't believe we haven't talked about until now, is Draw Something. Have you played Draw Something?
Oh, no, I haven't gotten into that, but I see people tweeting pictures and tumbling pictures of Draw Something. So I do want to actually get on that.
It's pretty cool. It's not really a game. It's like fun to like draw stuff. I think it's cool that people can be creative and share that with friends over their phones. But as a game, this is such a nerdy complaint, but as a game, it's like barely a game. You're not really competing against anyone, but it is really fun, and it's cool that it's getting popular.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, let's. Are you on it, Jeff?
I think you can find me via Facebook or something.
Okay, cool.
I'm the worst at drawing, but I love watching other people draw.
Oh, I'm awful at drawing. I was an art minor in college, and I can't draw.
Well, wait do you try drawing with your fingers on an iPhone?
Yeah, I can't. Oh, I'm so excited.
John, is The Substitute coming back soon?
Yes, I think April 16th is our premiere date, and we'll be on at 7 p.m., so the grown-ups that listen to this podcast might actually be able to check it out.
What was the last time it was on, like, after school?
Yeah, it was like on at 4:30 in the afternoon.
So The Substitute is on MTV at 7 p.m. on, what was it, April 7th?
I think April 16th will be the premiere date.
April 16th. John, thanks for coming back to the show.
Oh, I appreciate it, Jeff.
Moving on, but not quite leaving space, Michael Bay recently revealed that in his upcoming Ninja Turtles reboot, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would actually be aliens. Bay said that, quote, "When you see this movie, kids are going to believe one day that these turtles actually do exist. These turtles are from an alien race, and they are going to be tough, edgy, funny, and completely lovable." Is Michael Bay trying to fix something that isn't broken? Your thoughts, college humor writer / dorkly comic artist Owen Parsons.
Well, to a certain extent, I mean, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is already such a far-fetched premise. I mean, you have they're teenagers, they're mutants, they're ninjas, they're turtles. That's already like 3 steps beyond Street Sharks, which itself is kind of an absurd thing.
Street Sharks being your baseline level of reality.
Street Sharks is the normal jump from something regular to a little tweaked, like we're in a cartoon universe.
So you're saying a standard unit of measurement for measuring how far away we've gone from reality is 1 Street Sharks.
Yeah, it would be 1 Street Shark, I would say. But from there, like, Michael Bay basically said, oh, we're going to have this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, but here's the thing, I'm going to tweak one thing, they're going to be about aliens now. And, like, the internet exploded, everyone's super furious about this, and to a certain extent, I mean, they have the right to be upset. A lot of people really treasure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they think that this is a very valued property to them in their childhood. But I don't know. I can't really get all that worked up about a Michael Bay movie. I mean, he's sort of in the business of taking childhood franchises and turning them into big explosion-filled Michael Bay movies. And I mean, whether you put a lot of stock in a Michael Bay movie, I guess, depends on how much you're going to care about whether or not he's ruining the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I get the sense with this story, which got a lot of play on the internet this week, and a lot of the actors who played Ninja Turtles, both in the movies and in the cartoon, came out and said that it was silly. And
it was interesting. Like, you had Michelangelo, the guy who played Michelangelo came out against it, but the guy who played Leonardo specifically came out in support of Michael Bay.
Well, so Leonardo, he's very disciplined. He's
trying to hold everyone together.
Right, exactly.
Even among the people who have a professional relationship with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there's disagreement as to whether Michael Bay has the right to change it like this.
I think if anyone else came out and said, we're doing a Ninja Turtles reboot and the Ninja Turtles are going to be aliens, people would be upset. But it's specifically the Michael Bay part of the equation that's really driving people nuts on this one. I think if it was anyone else, it wouldn't be quite as much. But Michael Bay, like you were saying, is somewhat synonymous already with ruining beloved childhood things.
Yeah, you have Transformers, you have all the Battleship movie coming out. I mean, is that
Michael Bay? I know it's from the company that brought me Transformers.
Oh, is it not? Maybe I'm wrong then.
I don't know.
Maybe
That's just what the trailer says. I'm not sure,
but it certainly looks like a Michael Bay movie. All Michael Bay movies kind of look the same.
That's true. I mean, that's kind of to his credit though that he's. I mean, all those movies look like Michael Bay. Yeah,
he's absolutely an auteur.
The thing about Ninja Turtles is that the 80s cartoon, which I think is really what most people are talking about when they talk about Ninja Turtles, the original cartoon, itself took a lot of liberties from the original Ninja Turtles comic book that it's based on.
Yeah.
And I think some people would say maybe that cartoon, which we all know and love, is the thing that actually ruined Ninja Turtles.
That cartoon wasn't very good, was it?
Well, it was very successful. It's definitely not.
That's what I think of when I think of Ninja Turtles. Is that cartoon?
Yeah,
but I don't think it holds up well at all.
No, it does not. It does not. So fuck that too, right?
I mean, it's kind of a big thing you're talking about on the internet now. Is that fans feel some ownership of a franchise, and you're sort of feeling that with all the Mass Effect 3 ending stuff that's going on right now, and everything else. Is that when a creator, or in this case Michael Bay, takes a weird turn with a franchise that a lot of people love, they feel like personally betrayed. Like they feel like their childhood is retroactively lessened by this creative decision. And I understand why they might feel like that, but I guess I don't understand why you can't just say, oh yeah, Michael Bay's doing whatever he wants.
I never even saw, there was already a Ninja Turtles movie that I didn't see. I can keep not seeing Ninja Turtles movies.
Which one didn't you see?
The CG one from like 2007 or so.
Oh, TMNT, the one that was just the acronym.
Was that good?
Yeah, I didn't see it either, actually. I
don't
thought
think many
about
people
it.
did. And you know what? That was fine. We still remember the 80s cartoon, and we still have fond memories of it.
And from what I remember, like that TMNT, that movie took some liberties. Like there were robots in it. There was like an ancient prophecy or something. It wasn't just the turtles fighting Shredder or whatever. And I mean, you also have that they had that Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation TV series with the female Ninja Turtle, Venus de Milo.
Which recently someone pointed out on the internet that she's a lady turtle. Her name's Venus, and she has somewhat of a feminine body. She kind of has boobs, even though turtles aren't mammals. That's just the ultimate thing to be reading on the internet. I love that. That's probably one of the top 10 things I read on the internet last year, I'd say.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing, and that was universally hated. I mean, I think the creators even now say like, okay, that didn't happen. Let's all just pretend like the TV series was never a thing. There
was a cartoon around 2004 or 5 that was pretty good, a reboot of it that I did watch a lot of and I did enjoy.
Yeah, it's strange. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles exists in reboots exclusively. The only time you ever hear about it is once every 4 or 5 years when like a new rebooted TV series or a new film project comes out, and it's just kind of a different thing.
I am so glad that this came up because it finally gives me a chance to talk on the record about Turtles Forever, which I watched. Turtles Forever, did you see this?
Yeah.
You certainly heard me yelling about it one day.
I heard you just yelling about it in the office.
On a street corner.
Yeah.
So Turtles Forever is really interesting and really is worth talking about. It's this animated movie that was made about 2 or 3 years ago. It was to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Ninja Turtles. And in this cartoon, it starts in the world of the 2000s era Ninja Turtles cartoon, which is a little bit grittier. It starts there, and something happens, time, wormhole, I don't remember. And they cross over into the world of the 80s Ninja Turtles cartoon. So it's the present Ninja Turtles mixing it up with the other ones. And
they also get like the comic book ones in there too, right?
Well, hold on, we're getting there. So the more recent reboot was a lot grittier. And there's all these jokes at the 80s Ninja Turtles expense. Whoever wrote this thing obviously hated the 80s Ninja Turtles because they're in this cartoon, they're complete goofballs. Basically, from the point of view of the 2000s reboot Ninja Turtles, all the 80s Ninja Turtles, they're all Michelangelo. That's hell. They're really goofy. They keep like messing things up. And they're even worse to the 80s Shredder and the 80s Krang. Like the present day 2000s or whatever Shredder shows up. Am I making any fucking sense?
No,
You're with me.
Where you're coming from. Yeah.
So the present day...
Krang, they were in the Technodrome, naturally.
Right. So the 2000s reboot Shredder shows up, who's kind of a badass, and completely demolishes the 80s Shredder and Krang, who was a creation of the 80s cartoon. They have absolutely no respect for them. They're completely incompetent and completely unable to stand up to this newer Shredder, who's actually like a real badass in the world of this cartoon. And then here's where it gets really crazy. God, if anyone's still listening. It ends with Shredder recognizing that there is some sort of Turtles multiverse. And he's in this room and there's videos of all these Turtle reboots. You see the live action movies, the cartoon, the video games. And he's like, the Turtles exist in all these different dimensions. And they're showing all these different, like there's like a Turtles anime.
Then you have Shredder speaking to the architect who tells, that he's the 14th Shredder in a line of Shredders that all end in the same way.
Well, Shredder says I have to destroy the world that created these turtles. I have to go to the original world. And I was watching this and I was like, I think Shredder just threatened me. I don't think I've ever watched anything else where the villain was threatening to destroy you, the viewer's universe.
No, he's pointing out of the TV set. He wants your blood.
It was some very layered, like, layers of reality thing. And then in the end, they do cross over with the comic book version, and it's really cool because it's black and white, and they were even grittier than the 2000s version. This is before the franchise was really for kids, and there's like a voiceover kind of to signify the way the comic books, have like an inner dialogue going. And they all have the same color headband, and then all 12 turtles have to team up to take on Shredder. And it's great. It's actually kind of cool, but it's only the last 15 minutes. Why are we talking about this?
It sounds fun. It sounds exciting.
I guess the thing about it is that in the history of all these different versions of Turtles, the comic book, the cartoon, the movies, the 80s one, which is really the thing we all know and love, it's really not that precious, and it's even that isn't that great, so maybe people should relax about this.
Yeah, I mean, telling the internet to relax about anything is sort of a fool's errand, but I think Michael Bay knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, maybe not in a creative sense, but in a
no, you're right though.
In a let's get everyone on the internet talking about my new Ninja Turtles movie sense.
I'll probably see it because I'm an idiot, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. People complain that there aren't enough new ideas. Maybe there'll be something interesting about this. Maybe
that's true. I mean, everyone complains about there not being any originality in movies, and that even like the smallest shred of originality in this very retread franchise is enough to get everyone super angry about it.
And with that, we arrive at The Hunger Games, which, with all due respect to John Carter, is probably the year's first blockbuster. We are going to get a little bit spoilery about the first book and the first movie of The Hunger Games because, I mean, come on, everyone cool has read it at this point, right? What did you think about the first movie? College humor writer, Pat Castles.
I thought it was okay. I thought it had a really, really cool style, a really cool kind of tone in the first half. You
were very excited about it when we did our 2012 movie preview episode with Ben, and we talked about The Hunger Games. You were very excited about this film. You sound a little disappointed.
I guess I am a little disappointed. I think just once she actually gets to The Hunger Games, it becomes a somewhat more traditional action movie. I just feel like it didn't totally hit the themes of the book that I was really moved by, in terms like the sort of dystopian future. Like I never really got a very good feeling for it, which is kind of, it wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, I the one review I did read compared it to RoboCop a little bit, and like,
oh yeah, that makes sense.
I wanted more of that. I wanted a better look at this sort of.
That was the AV
world.
Club review, right?
Yes.
Which I also read, which is a great comparison because both RoboCop and Starship Troopers, Paul Verhoeven movies, have a thing about using the news to like comment and kind of get you through the movie, and the news is used very satirically in both them and in this movie.
Definitely. And I did think I do want to. There's a lot in the movie to be impressed by. I think like the world of District 12 was really a cool. I'd never really seen that world on camera. The world of the Capitol. I kind of wanted more of that. Like. I mean, I think it will definitely. That's just like a weird thing to predict or whatever. But it's got like it will probably get like an Oscar nomination for like best costumes for all those Capitol. That whole look of the Capitol was very cool.
I like the movie too, and I'm a little reserved about it also. But the problems that you had with it weren't necessarily problems that I had. Like I thought you got a pretty good sense of District 12. And that scene where they showed the propaganda movie and just the reaping in general, like I thought that scene was very economic about, even though there wasn't a lot in it, you got a sense of like that how the people felt about the Hunger Games and and that they were being held down. I thought that was in there. And the movie overall, because the book is told so squarely from Katniss's perspective, I thought the movie actually had a little bit more of seeing what was going on in the world and seeing the news and all that, the pieces that were in her. You get to see what Gale is doing during the games very briefly.
Yeah, that's true. I thought the Gale stuff, that the Gale, Peeta, Katniss love triangle, I guess in the second and third movies and books, of course, you'll see that kind of develop a little bit more.
It's not that much. Gale's just not in the first book that much, as I guess, because he's not in the Hunger Games.
I mean, people are definitely. When you and I saw it at the same screening, and I think most people in the audience seem to have read the books.
Definitely.
So when they showed Gale, they kind of brief cut to Gale when Katniss and Peeta were sort of kissing in the cave or whatever, being intimate, and everyone kind of laughed and was they got a big reaction out of that. And I feel like that was not a reaction you would have if you didn't read the books or didn't know that. I think people just, even if you didn't, you just instinctively knew that this had like a Twilight like love triangle that you were supposed to be on board for.
Yeah, I think the movie used the book to take shortcuts a lot like that. Like Rue. When Rue showed up in the movie, and the first time they were like, "Oh, this is Rue," and she's introduced, there was a collective awe in the movie theater because they found this adorable little girl to play her, and everyone who's read the book, which is most of the theater, we'd seen it, we saw an early screening of it. so everyone was very excited about it, and everyone had read the books. And so there's this awe, and that's because everyone kind of knows what's coming. And I talked to someone, our friend Vinny, who didn't read the books, and he was saying that, like, that Katniss ruse stuff, she kind of takes on a mothership role, and it's kind of glazed over. He's like, that happened kind of quickly, and I didn't follow it, and that didn't even occur to me because I had read the book. Like, that story isn't that well developed in the movie, but if you've read the book, like, you can fill in the pieces that aren't there. You can fill in a little bit of what Katniss is feeling and how she's missing her sister. And I think that was just my problem with the movie, which is a very, very good movie. It's probably the best Hunger Games movie anyone could have ever made.
Go on.
And but it's...
I could have made a better one. I'm just kidding.
We must have talked about... We did a whole episode about translating books to movies with DC Pearson.
Sure.
And I feel like this must have been covered somewhere in there. But I'm never that excited when the movie adaptation is a completely straight retelling to the detail of what's in the book. Like the Harry Potter movies are this too. Obviously, the Harry Potter movies are all really good. Again, probably the best Harry Potter movies you can make. But after reading the book, just seeing the story I know played out on screen, just visualized, just getting those greatest hits of it, never really excites me that much. It's just hard to get excited about that as its own thing. And I felt that way watching The Hunger Games. I was like, yep, this is the book I read, but I didn't get that excited about it as a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked it. There's things about it I liked more than the Harry Potter movies. I mean, I like how it's sort of... Harry Potter, it has this whole tone of he is an outsider coming to this world. So that's how the books and the movie get around explaining all these magical things where it's like, well, what's this? And like, well, Harry, this is a jumping bird or something. Clearly I haven't read the books, but whereas this, you're just kind of thrown into the world and you have to sort of like learn as it happens. So I thought that aspect was very cool, which is, but I thought that scene, I mean, you pointed out the scene with the reaping. I thought that was possibly the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it was sort of done in a very... There was some real choices there. There was no music in it. It was very creepy, very like... I wanted more of that kind of tone happening in the movie.
I think all my favorite scenes in the movie, the stuff I really liked, is the stuff that they expanded on, which is not that much. They didn't add that much, but the things they did add, I really liked. Like, I like seeing Seneca, who's the games master, talking to the president. I liked... And I don't remember if this is in the book, because I read him a few months ago now, but Haymitch talks to Seneca, and he's like, you have to give people something to root for, and that's why they make the very sudden rule change that there can now be 2 winners of the Hunger Games, which is this important moment. And I think in the book, as I recall, that's like a little more sudden and a little more unplanned, whereas here you get to see exactly how that came to be. And I think maybe you get it a little later in the book. I'm not sure.
I think it's all from Katniss's...
So I liked all those scenes a lot. And one more, real quick. Really, at the end of the movie, the scene with Seneca and the Nightlock, I think, again, is something that is maybe described in the book, but it's actually seeing it as a scene at the end of the movie I thought really worked really nicely. So all these parts that weren't in the book I thought were really cool. And the book's so popular that you can't make too many of those. Like they were obviously very obligated. I don't begrudge them for sticking so closely to the book. It's just kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you that the stuff in District 12 and the Capitol was my favorite stuff in the books. I love dystopian futures, and we've mentioned RoboCop, and 90% of Paul Verhoeven's work is set in a
kind of John Carpenter.
John Carpenter as well, yeah. I thought it had elements of that. And there was a really cool choice of director. It was Gary Ross, who made Pleasantville, which is another kind of movie that is surprisingly subversive and dark, especially in its second half. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
If you watch the trailer, it's marketed completely as this goofy we're trapped in the TV world movie, and then the second half it becomes they're burning books and there's Nazi or fascist undertones to the whole thing. I thought it was very cool. So. In that, and so he's a sort of, and that it has the color scheme or whatever. There's a sort of tonal similarity to the two movies, I feel like. So I thought it was great. I just thought the look of it was very cool. I don't know. It's weird to praise the look of a movie as opposed to, but the look is very connected. I think in this case to
the story is already laid out by the book, so the look is what the movie has added, and I thought they did a great job. We're being a little down, and I think we both enjoyed the movie. I think it's a good movie.
I'm still pressed. I told you before, I haven't read any. I like to read a lot of reviews after I see a movie, just trying to not that I need to be told what to think, but I always find it helps you just kind of clarify your own thoughts on the movie. Mm-hmm. And in this case, I haven't done it yet. So I think you're getting kind of a raw, unprocessed.
And we saw the movie.
opinion.
But we saw the movie 2 days ago now.
I know.
So we didn't just walk away from it.
No. I don't really have an excuse to not have.
I mean, you can
opinions.
think about it for a few days before you declare your feelings on the movie forever. What did you like about the movie? What did you like about it?
I thought Jennifer Lawrence was a great cast, and it's kind of it's amazing that it's such like a movie serendipity that Winter's Bone happened a year ago, because like who else would you have gotten if she didn't come into existence? I mean, she basically broke out with that movie Winter's Bone a year and a half ago, and that is Katniss. She was essentially playing Katniss in that movie, like a darker version, a realer version, but she was a girl who was taking care of her sister, who lived in the woods, who like hunted food, who was a tough badass, and it was just so perfect.
Self-sufficient.
That great. Winter's Bone is an awesome movie. You should see. I think if you like The Hunger Games, you'd probably really like Winter's Bone.
I still haven't seen Winter's Bone. It's been on my list for a while. I gotta check it out.
John Hawkes. I know you're a John Hawkes fan.
Yeah,
you like some John Hawkes.
I do. I like pretty much anyone from Deadwood in anything. And there was someone from Deadwood in this. Paula Malcolmson showed up for a second.
Who's he?
She is Trixie from Deadwood, and she was Katniss's mom in this.
Oh, that's right. She did look familiar. Wow.
There were a lot of adult, like this is the kind of movie where the budget was so large that like pretty much any speaking part was filled out by an overqualified actor. Like Paula Malcolmson's amazing, and she's like a ringer. She just has like 3 lines in this movie, but they got the best. They hired someone completely overqualified for it. Stanley Tucci's another one.
Yeah,
Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, and they're all great in the movie, and it's just like it's fun. All the adults are great in the movie, is what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
A lot of fun little adult parts.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci probably. He's
Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, you could make the argument that Tucci kind of stole the show, or he was certainly like. I mean, he had that like Paul Verhoeven-ish tone. He was the biggest representation of that.
But he's like in the movie, he's like a show. That's his character.
I thought Elizabeth Banks also was actually very good.
Yeah, she got a lot of laughs.
That's
a character I didn't totally know how to imagine from reading the books either. Like I didn't have a. That's not how I imagined Effie. Like it was a little more ridiculous than I think I imagined when I was reading the book.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. I'm kind of excited for the second movie because I would love to see. I feel like maybe in the second movie they'll be able to explore some of the themes that I feel like such. Well,
I think what you like, but what you like is like the larger sci-fi world, and they do get more into that in the second and third books.
Yeah,
and they hinted it a little bit in this one.
I find Effie to be a very complex character because she is sort of she's raised in the capital. She's sort of the representation of like everything that's kind of ugly and bad about this world, but then she's at the same time, she has like a good heart. So
yeah,
that's fun to see play out.
Yeah, they didn't. You know what they didn't have? They mentioned cutting out the tongues, but they didn't have the.
Oh yeah,
what is it? The affix or something?
I think I remember seeing one silent. I did see a servant once, and I was like, yeah, they did cut that out. They did actually downplay some. Clearly, the violence was not incredibly graphic, but. Nor was it too graphic in the books, but also like Haymitch's alcoholism I thought was underplayed. In the book, I think there might be a scene where like he's vomiting or they're dragging him to bed. It's just a much more repulsive alcoholism, or a much more. I mean, not that
he is for a scene or two, but then he cleans himself up.
Right. He was just he was a little. His character was a little darker, I thought. But I know he sort of was a comic relief in this.
But I think I think they did a good job choosing what was important, and the major themes are all there, and it's still a great story.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I've convinced myself that I like it more than I thought in this conversation.
Okay, good. That's what we're here for. That's what we were here to do.
I think I would rewatch it. I think I was just very excited. I guess I was really. I had very high expectations. I thought I was going to be like, just emotionally swept or something, but those movies tend to sneak up on you. Maybe like that's the problem with hype.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Is it was just safe. It was like exactly what was in the book, and it was. I don't begrudge them for making that decision. I understand why they did it, but it was just.
You brought up John Carter before.
Yeah.
What did you think?
So I went back to the episode we recorded with Ben. Where we were looking forward to all the films of the year, and I actually listened to the brief segment where we talked about the Hunger Games to see if there was like something we said that was maybe very true or very untrue. Obviously, I chose not to include anything from it. We're already here, but that episode's really embarrassing because 2 of the movies I'm really excited about, and this is just 2 or 3 months ago, was Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, which I saw and was atrocious.
I saw with you, yeah.
That was really bad, and
and
Jon Carter, which I was also not a huge fan of.
Yeah.
So I was not doing too good with movies, but I actually saw this, and I did like this overall. It's enjoyable. And 21 Jump Street I saw this week too, which was excellent, really really funny. Talk about like being surprised by a movie. That's something certainly was not on my radar at the beginning of the year. Like, when is that 21 Jump Street movie coming out? And it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. I've heard it's like a good high school movie too. Like how it sort of gets to some.
Yeah, it has like a good take on 21 Jump Street. Like, the basic premise. It has like a pretty good take on that, and like it has a few clever ideas and things to say. And it's the kind of thing that's not as good for this podcast because it's just like a little. There's no space monsters or sci-fi premises, but it's really worth seeing.
Cool.
I don't know, how do we take this out? I feel like we came to this like really lukewarm place where we're like, yeah, some things are okay and some things are bad.
With the movie?
This is the end of the episode. We've had so many people, so many friends talked about so much. We gotta really bring this home here.
Do I go back to the Hunger Games, or what are you looking forward? What other movies are you looking forward to this year? You're 2 for 2 right now. You gotta put your.
Well, Avengers seems like a safe bet. Avengers is probably the next thing I'm really excited about. You know what else looks good is the what's that movie? I can't remember the name of it. Where it's like an action movie and it's Japanese or
it has a weird name. It's like The Right : Retribution or something.
Where they're taking down this is bad too. I can't even remember the name of the movie I want to see.
I will tell. I did recently see the Dark Knight Rises trailer, the new one, and I thought it was amazing. Like I
think Avengers and Dark Knight are probably. It's hard to imagine they're not both going to be really good in different ways. But
and I had some nitpicky things with I don't even just me and superhero movies. I'm not 100% on board for superhero movies. I think The Hunger Games is more my wheelhouse because it's a little more believable, for lack of a better word, or it's more I don't know. It's
not a superhero movie.
Yeah,
it's sci-fi.
But there's so much else to like in the Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. Like just that shot of the football stadium was incredible. Like to think of that. It's just a trailer, and I'm already excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
He just knows how to spend money and make epic movies that are also really smart.
I remember,
and that's rare.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I think I may be. I know you're not gonna like this. I think I may be more excited about the Avengers than I am the Dark Knight.
Really?
I don't know why. I think it's just like.
Well, Joss Whedon's a cool choice.
Yeah, I love Joss Whedon. I'm really. It's hard to choose between the two of them. But I gotta admit, in my heart of hearts, I think I may be more excited about the Avengers. I don't know why. I feel guilty about it.
I think maybe as a film, The Dark Knight might be better, but as a sort of
that new Avengers trailer looks so fun.
I haven't seen it. I gotta watch it.
Oh, the most recent one?
No, maybe probably not.
It's really good. It's like a little mini movie in and of itself.
That's true. The Dark Knight will probably be like, it won't be. It's not going to be fun,
Yeah, I'm Avengers, nervous about seeing the Dark Knight. I'm like, what will I feel like after I see it? Like the Avengers is going to be, I imagine, 2 hours of just really condensed fun. I think that's maybe why I feel guilty about looking more forward to it.
No, it's fine. That's Joss Whedon's, and that's how. Movies about people who dress up and fight bad guys probably should be more fun than emotionally moving.
Yeah,
I'm coming at it from weird. I think maybe I'm just excited for another Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, that's true. I can't say this enough. I'm very excited about both.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're not coming off as anti Chris Nolan at all.
But I do think there's probably. I bet that's going to be a big thing on the internet this summer is the two movies pitted against each other.
We should talk. We should come back and talk about it.
We are definitely going to be talking about the Avengers and the Dark Knight and more movies all through the summer. Thanks for coming back to the show, Pat.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you once again to all of my guests, Owen and Pat from College Humor, Jon Gabrus from The Substitute, Scott from Scott's Pizza Tours. It is now time for some light Jeff Rubin. Jeff Rubin, fact check. First of all, Pizza Expo is, at least according to their website, the world's largest pizza convention. I almost don't believe it until I hear it out of Scott's mouth, but that is what it says on their website. The episode of Lost that I described with Locke's father did air in March 2007, so I think it really is the one we watched. Angry Birds came out at the end of 2009, but didn't really hit until 2010. They are making a Game of Thrones MMORPG, and I guess if you know what MMORPG is, you probably already knew that without me fact-checking it for you. Michael Bay was not involved in Battleship, though Owen is correct that he might as well have been. The movie that I want to see that I couldn't remember the name of is The Raid, and it is an Indonesian movie, and it looks fucking awesome. Check out that trailer. And while you're on the internet looking at videos, head over to College Humor because I have a new nerd alert out this week. and it is a doozy. We shot it over 3 weekends. I think you're really gonna like it. Another thing I reference in this episode is that people keep asking me, when's Gabrus coming back? Who did the theme song? Are you doing another Breaking Bad episode? I didn't ask Pat that when he was there, but that is something we get a lot of. If you want to ask me questions, you don't have to wait until I answer them here. You can hit me up on Twitter, at Jeff Rubin Show, on my Facebook fan page, at Tumblr, at jeffrubin.com, and youtube.com/JeffRubin. And hey, I wouldn't hate it if you left an iTunes review. I'm not gonna beg. I've got too much pride for that. But if you did it, yeah, you know what? I'd appreciate it. But even if you don't, we can still be friends. I'll see you again on Tuesday. Bye.